Welcome to the Deep Sea Archives. You are about to listen to the lore of Ezreal, the Prodigal Explorer. Born and raised in a wealthy neighborhood of Piltover, Ezreal was always a curious child. His parents were renowned archaeologists, so he became used to their long absences from the family home, often fantasizing about joining them on their travels. He loved hearing tales of high adventure and shared their desire to fill in the blank spaces on every map. He was often left in the care of his uncle, the esteemed Professor Limera. The professor did not enjoy having to wrangle such a rash and unruly child, and assigned the strictest tutors to teach him subjects including advanced cartography, hextech mechanics, and the ancient histories of Runeterra. But the boy had a knack for simply absorbing information, and found studying a waste of time. He passed assessments easily, with little or no preparation, infuriating his uncle and giving himself more time to roam the university grounds. Ezreal took great pleasure in evading the campus wardens, navigating the tunnels beneath the lecture halls as easily as the library rooftops. He even practiced lockpicking, sneaking into his teachers' offices and rearranging their belongings for his own amusement. Whenever Ezreal's parents returned to Piltover, his father in particular would tell him all they had seen, and their plans for future expeditions, none more ambitious and secretive than the search for the lost tomb of Nizuk, a Shuriman tyrant who was said to be able to jump instantly from one place to another. If Ezreal's father could learn whatever sorcery Nizuk had possessed, he joked that wherever he was traveling, he would simply drop into Piltover for dinner with his son each night. As the boy grew older, the time between his parents' visits grew longer until, one year, they did not return at all. Professor Limera tearfully admitted that they had most likely perished, somewhere out in the desert. But Ezreal could not accept that. They had been too careful in their preparations. They must still be out there, somewhere. Abandoning his reluctant studies, the budding explorer would strike out on his own. He knew, if he was ever to find his mother and father, he had to start with the final resting place of Nizuk. He spent weeks secretly gathering supplies from the university, celestial diagrams, translations of runic sigils, guides on the burial rites of Shurima, and a pair of protective goggles. Leaving a note of farewell for his uncle, he snuck onto a supply ship bound for Nashrami. Following his mother's meticulous field notes, he crossed the Great Sigh with merchant caravans heading south. For many months, he delved into cavernous ruins beneath the shifting sands, relishing the freedom of the unknown, facing unspeakable horrors that guarded hidden chambers. With each step, Ezreal imagined himself following his parents' path, drawing ever closer to solving the mystery of their disappearance. Finally, he managed what they evidently had not. Beneath the newer mausoleum of some unnamed emperor, he uncovered the tomb of Nizuk. The great sarcophagus lay empty, save for a gleaming bronze gauntlet, with a bright, crystalline matrix at its center. As soon as Ezreal laid his hands upon it, the tomb itself seemed to turn upon him, with cunningly wrought traps and wards laid down thousands of years ago. With scarcely a thought, he donned the gauntlet and blasted his way through, even teleporting the last 100 yards back to the hidden entrance before the whole structure collapsed in a plume of sand and masonry dust. Breathing hard, Ezreal looked down at the gauntlet as it hummed along with his heartbeat. He could feel it siphoning and amplifying his own essence. This, he realized, was a fearsome weapon of a previous age. A weapon fit for a god-warrior of Shurima, and the perfect tool for an explorer. Soon after returning to Piltover, Ezreal found himself bounding from adventure to adventure. From lost cities to mystical temples, his nose for treasure-seeking led him to places most university professors could only read about on maps, and his reputation began to grow. Naturally, to Ezreal's mind, these tales rarely conveyed the true scope and scale of his exploits, but they did give him an idea. If he could make a name for himself as the greatest adventurer in the world, then his parents would surely return and seek him out in person. From the untamed borders of Noxus and Demacia to the seedy depths of Zaun and the frozen wilderness of the Freljord, Ezreal chases fame and glory, uncovering long-lost artifacts and solving the riddles of history. While some may dispute the details of his anecdotes or call his methods into question, he never answers his critics. After all, they're clearly just jealous.